He got problems, she got problems. Only I got 411 problems. Hey, hi, what's up, y'all? It's time for another story time. I've already put in the disclaimer in the help line. I don't take domestic violence lightly at all. Any experience that I tell on my YouTube, anything from my point of view, my hope is never, just like my disclaimer says, my it's never to embarrass or bash anybody. It's just to tell things from my point of view and how I saw them and how I felt receiving such actions. Sometimes, and please don't take this as an excuse, but sometimes domestic violence is never okay from either person, from a man or a woman. But sometimes certain situations that other people are going through rolls over to another person. Hence, how child abuse comes into play. Sometimes parents are going through certain things, and I'm not excusing it. They're going through certain things and they take it out on a child, which is so unhealthy, so not fair. Certain, like, I'm just trying to make it make sense. I'm trying to line up the story, right? All right, so let's get into it. And usually, domestic violence is somebody that it usually comes from somebody you trust. That's how sometimes, majority of the time, sexual assault, especially for kids, is usually somebody that they trust. Yeah. All right. So at this point in time, I'm trying to. I'm trying to make sure, like, I'm telling in the correct timeline, because this point in time, like, this person, this little, my, like, I don't want to say like he was my little yeah, because at this point in time I think like we're just cool, but it was like we bend the line so much that at this point in time of the situationship, it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of, it was a whole lot, It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. And it was like I was going some through some things, he was going through some things, and it was more of, do I want to say trauma bonding? Somewhat, so to speak, trauma bonding, but also building building a a safe space. It, like, when I say a safe space, I'm meaning like everything was laid out on the table, even like the harsh stuff from both parties, and there was no judgment. So this person saw my good, my bad, my ugly, my diabolical, and I saw their good, their bad, their ugly, their diabolical. Like, that's how much the safe space was. That's how much trauma bonding, like, it was a mesh of it. A mesh of it. And then at this point in time, this person is going through hell. When I say hell, hell, it was something every day, almost every hour. On the hour, it was something happening. Something happening. So at any given point in time, you could say something and you can trigger this person to the point where it started getting so bad to where I was like, I had started removing myself. So at this particular point, like we were meeting up one day. We were meeting up, and I don't know what for. I don't know what for. I don't know if it was to exchange money, um, because it was a back and forth of that too. It's a back and forth of, I'm low right now, can you help? Or it would be, I'm low right now, can you help? It was exchanging back and forth of money. Besides a safe space, a place to vent, a place to crack, like it for both of us. It wasn't just one-sided. So I don't want to paint the picture like it was just one-sided, and I don't want to paint the picture like I'm making excuses. I'm saying at this very moment it was a toxic safe space meshed together from both ends. But there was no abuse from me. Right? From from my perspective, there was no abuse from me. Right? And I say that because there are times, because even Ty has said this, there are times when it's like you just get quiet and you don't say anything, and then you withdraw. And so I'm trying to figure out what to do or what to say, or I'm walking on eggshells, and in reality it's like, if I'm not, for me, I'm in survival mode and I need quiet so I can figure out to do next. And if I'm not bothering you, or like I'm not doing anything to harm you, you shouldn't take offense to that. But some people do. So that's why I say, as far as I know, from my perspective, there was no abuse given. Because it may have been something that was bothering you with me being quiet. Right? You'll be amazed how that comes into play. Sorry, y'all, I gotta turn the seat back on because I'm cold. You'll be amazed how that comes into play. Even in the workplace for black women. Like, there's story times about it. I promise. But even in my house, me being quiet, trying to survive, it was labeled an attitude problem. So that's what I mean, where from my perspective, I didn't feel like I was doing any abuse, but for somebody else, they may have taken it that way. Anyway, so we're meeting up, and again, I don't remember if we were just exchanging money, exchanging time, just seeing each other. I don't remember. I don't remember. Honestly. This story is not very long. I don't remember. But I do remember, like, we met up. And when we met up, he got out of the car because he had someone in the passenger seat. So he got out of his car and he came and sat in my car. And we were sitting there talking like it was just normal. Was this the first time? Yes. So it was just normal. Normal, like, it was just normal having a conversation. Nothing was going sideways as far as I know. Like, we was just sitting there having a conversation. But I can also tell, like, you were kind of agitated with something that was going on that didn't concern me. And again, I'm a simple person. Like, I feel like men are simple. If it's something you want me to know, you'll tell me. If it's not something you want me to know, and that's either not with just men, that's with my friends too. If you're not telling me anything you don't want me to know, if you want me to know, you'll tell me. You'll vent, you'll talk to me, you'll ask my opinion. I'm literally that simple. You don't want to tell me, you don't want me to know. And I need to be respectful enough as your friend to mind, to respect your space, to respect your choice, so to speak. But anyway, so we're sitting in the car, but again, I can tell, like, he's kind of agitated, and like listening to his response with me with questions, or just us talking in general. Some tones are kind of heightened, and some looks are, deadly. But it's like, I'm tripping, because it's like, there's no way you're mad at me because I didn't do anything to you. Like, we're just sitting here talking. We're just having a conversation. We're just having a conversation. So anyway, my phone rings and Stacy calls. Actually, Stacy calls me, and we're on the phone for a little bit. And with us being on the phone, like I never be like, oh, this my cousin, this my, like I've never been that type of person. Oh, this is such and such, like I'm in a car, or let me call you back with such and such, I'm in a car with such and such, let me call you back or whatever. Like we're just sitting there talking, because as far as I know, we're sitting here talking. So but I'll talk for a while because I want to make sure like everything's okay. Right? And once I find out like everything is okay and like you're good and you're just calling just to talk, then I'll go, so okay girl, let me call you back. And so once I said that, we may have been on the phone for maybe like 5 minutes, because it's like at this point, I'll say, hey, I'm sitting in the car, like I have company, I'm being rude right now, so let me call you back. It's literally what I'll say after I find out, or after I figure out, like, is everything okay? You know what I'm saying? Like there's no emergency, like you're okay mentally, physically, let me call you back. So when I hung up the phone, you saw the picture of her, because like I like pictures of people on my phone, because I like for the pictures to come up. And so you saw her picture, so you was like, who is that? And I was like, oh, that's my cousin. You was like, oh, you ain't introduced me to her, you never said nothing about her, like who, where's she at, where she was at? And so like I'm kind of giving you a side eye, because I don't think at this point in time like we cool or kicking it. Like I think we just like on the friend side. But like I said, it was always so off and on. So it's like still it's the principle for me, because this is my cousin. This ain't no random. This is my cousin, and I just told you this is my cousin. So I kind of gave you a look, and it was like, why are you giving me a look? What's that about? Because it's not like you want me. It's not like you want me. So I'm sitting there going, where did this come from? Because again, far as I know, your interest is elsewhere. You've already started dating somebody else. So where is this coming from? And even though you're not interested in me anymore and you're dating somebody else, you're not going to my cousin. Like what are we on right now? So I was like, you're dating somebody else. What that got to do with anything? Why are you even bringing that up? So again, now I can tell like you're agitated. So it's like, okay, Angel, you need to pivot. Like we're in a closed in space. You need to pivot. You're having a bad day. So of course it's like, okay, let me kick into friendship mode, which I thought we was already in anyway. But like I kind of gave you a look because you talking about me introducing you to my cousin, which is weird as to me right now. And so it's like, okay, let me pivot. So I was like, so you're having a bad day. Like, what's going on? Because again, that's what we would do. It's like, I'm not feeling like, because there would be times when he would ask a question and I would go off and text messages because I'm having a bad day. And he'd be like, okay, you're having a bad day. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then later on, it'll be like, okay, my bad. Or you'll show up the next day and be like, okay, so you had a bad day yesterday. Let's talk about it. This is literally like, again, toxic but safe space. Because, yeah. Anyway, so it's like, okay, so you're having a bad day. Like, what's going on? Like, talk to me. Tell me what's up. And so he was like, I'm not having a bad day. I'm fine. I was like, oh, okay. But I can tell, like, body language, tone and voice, you're having a bad day. But that's neither here nor there. Let me mind my business because, hey, I'm trying to diffuse the situation. And since I'm trying to diffuse the situation, It doesn't make sense for me to kind of react the same way or match energy. So that's not what I want to do. So I'm sitting there, so it's like, okay, let me change the subject. So I change the subject and we start talking again. And so you kind of calming down, you kind of mellowing out, like you kind of, chilling out. Again, I don't even remember why we're there, but I know we met up for a reason. I just don't know why. I just don't remember why. I promise you I don't. Usually I can remember every detail. So it had to be to exchange money. It's the only thing I can think of. We were exchanging money, exchanging something. I don't know. We were exchanging something. That was the only reason we were meeting up. Anyway, so we're in a parking lot. We're in a public place. We're in the parking lot. And there's cars all around. There's people all around. There's people coming and going because we're in a public place. And so we sit there and talk for a good 10 to 15 minutes or whatever. And then you was like, all right, it's time for me to go. Like, I don't want you to be in traffic. And at this point in time, I'm staying on a different side of town. So it was like, oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I'm going to be in traffic anyway. And I was like, usually I'm not, because I'm going by a certain time, but I came right after work, and I came further in the city instead of going out, like towards me going home. And like I said, I stayed on a different side of town at this point in time, so it's like, yeah. So anyway, I was like, I'm already gonna be in traffic. So I was like, traffic kicks in at a certain time, and we're way past that certain time, so I'm gonna be in traffic. And I was like, but I appreciate it, like it's whatever, so you're right, let me go ahead and go. And I was like, you're ready to go as well, because we have been sitting in the parking lot for a good 20-30 minutes, and we've just been sitting there talking. So I was like, okay, yeah, so because you gotta get home. And he was like, yeah, I gotta go. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's cool. So he was like, well, kiss me bye. And I was like, no. Again, it's like confusion at this point in time, because we are going back and forth, and in my mind it's like, I'm pulling away because your interest is elsewhere. Like, if a man is interested in you, like, he on you. You're not on me. You're somewhere else. Like, so you're not on me. So in my mind, it's like, why would you want to kiss by? Like, we're not like that anymore. We're not there like that anymore. Like, we're just cool. We're just friends. Like, we just chilling. What's up, homie? So I was like, no. And you gave me this look, and it went from friendly to who the you talking to type situation. And I was like, and because I don't think I can beat everybody, but I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight back. I don't care. I'm gonna fight back. And so I was like, no. And he was like, what do you mean no? And I was like, no, like, I'll see you later. No, because it's like, for me, it's like, you're not gonna keep seesawing, yo-yoing, playing with my feelings type situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to go back and forth today. I don't want to go back and forth. I don't want to play with my feelings. You've moved on elsewhere, and it's like every time I get to a space to where you're okay, where like it's like, okay, we cool, here you come. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I have to battle. Like, we just cool, we just friends. Go get rid of these feelings. You know what I'm saying? So, and he was like, whatever. Like, you gonna give me a kiss? And I was like, no, I'm not. So you leaned over, and so it's like you kissing on my neck. Like, you went to kiss me, and I moved. And when I moved, like, you went to my neck. And so, like, you kissing on my neck, and I'm saying, stop. Like, stop. Like, stop kissing on me. And I'm saying, stop. And so when I did, like, the final push, you slapped my hand. And when you slapped my hand down, your next move was you went to my neck and you pushed me up against the car. Like, because I'm in the driver's seat. So you pushed me up against the car. You pushed me up against the car, and you're choking me. And I'm trying to move your hand, but he was like, every time you touch my hand, the tighter my hand is going to get. And at first, like I'm doing like this, and you stuck true to your word, and you started squeezing tighter, and you lean over and you say, "Give me a kiss," and I still. Hold on. And I still was like, like at this point, I'm like, I can't say anything because your hand is around my neck, but my head is still turned, denying you, because no. And you you was like, fine. So like you still kiss on my neck, and then you lick my face, and then you get out and you slam the car door. You get in your car and you leave. The person in your car was asleep. Their seat was down. So the whole time, far as I know, you didn't see anything. Like they were asleep. So I'm sitting there recounting what just happened, because it's like, this is my friend, you're supposed to be my friend, like what just happened, what set you off, what did I say, what did I do? Like I'm sitting there, like literally just sitting there in shock, and it's like I need to get myself together because I have to drive home, and I'm sitting there and I'm shaking. So I took a deep breath, and I go to my glove compartment to pull out a napkin because you licked my face. So I go to pull out the napkin, and I'm sitting there like, and I'm wiping my face, and I'm sitting there like for a good, I would say a good 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm trying to get my composure back. Like, cause it's like I don't want to drive frazzled. I don't want to drive that way. So let me get myself together. Let me get my composure right. And yeah, yeah. So once I get my composure together, like, remember I told y'all, like, we were in a public place and people are coming and going, coming and going. So I happened to look up, and when I look up, a lady is in her car. She was a Caucasian lady. She was in her car, in another parking spot. She wasn't real close, but she was close enough. Um, and she was looking, and I looked at her, like we locked eyes, and she said, "Are you okay?" And I just nodded my head, yeah. And so she was like, "Are you sure?" And I nodded my head, yeah. And she leaned back. She stared at me for a while, and then she put her book back up and kept reading. So I put my car in reverse, clicked up my car, put my car in reverse, and went home. Um, I didn't tell nobody that. I never told anybody about this incident because I went home and made excuses. Like, I went home and made excuses. Not that it was my fault. I went home and made excuses like, he's having a bad day. It's a bad day. He got a lot going on. I understand. Like, I understand because I have snapped. I've never hit him, but I have snapped to the point where it's like, this is the only time you come around is when you need something. The only time, like, literally, like, and it had nothing to do with him. Like, it would be stuff that's going on with me, and like he can like hit me up or ask the question, and I would go off, just go off, just go off. Yeah. And I'm not making excuses, but that was what I told myself, because it was like I put myself in his shoes. Like, instead of mentally, logically handling it the best way, instead of throwing off my anger on somebody else. Like, I don't want to say I made excuses. Like, I just did the same thing. It's like I did the same thing. I didn't hit him, but it was like I can go off on you when I'm having a bad day. And I just felt like, okay, you only did that because you're having a bad day. or because I said no, and maybe it was something going on. I don't even know what was going on. I don't. Um, I do know, like, the next day it was like, having a bad day, I apologize, which we did a lot. That's why I said it's toxic yet safe space, because it was like, I can hit you, I can, like, I can hit you, I can beat you up, I can say whatever, and then I come back the next day and be like, I'm sorry, I apologize. That shouldn't have happened. Why did this happen? Oh, I was having a bad day. We both did that to each other a lot. And I noticed it didn't stop until I moved. until I moved. Yeah. Until I moved. And then it was certain situations that changed with him, and it was certain situations that changed with me. And then we did talk about it. We did. We did talk about it. But I think I'm telling the story because this is not the first DV story that I have told. So, like, I'm telling you this stuff because it's like, it's not healthy. It's not a healthy friendship. It's not a healthy relationship. It's not a healthy situationship. It's not a healthy relationship, lovership, marriage, whatever. It's not healthy. That's not healthy. That's not love. It's trauma bonding. It is. But I'm not saying that you can't be around that person, because if there's a certain point of where both of you are to the point where it's like, okay, we need to separate to heal. That makes sense? Separate to understand, like, this is toxic. This is not, we shouldn't do this to each other, because again, we've had this conversation. So it was like, we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do this. Like, we still have conversations where it's like, you remember this? You remember this? You remember this? You remember this happening? That's crazy. And then it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. But anyway, yeah. Remove yourself. Domestic violence is never cool. Anger is never cool. Hitting your significant other, your spouse, your children, your friends, mentally, verbally, physically, emotionally, is never cool. It's never cool. Your parents, it's never cool. Never cool. So yeah, and that is the story time of the first time he hit me. I don't even think I don't know. I love you the most because you're definitely the dopest in real life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.